The NFL a little off kilter. We got field goals blocked. We've got game-winning kicks. We got a little bit of everything here in week 3. But as we assess what we saw, maybe the final score points to something we expected in the Eagles and Rams. Tight fought, high scoring, but the way we got there was wild, Mac.
Hey, in the words of Jalen Hurts, is that which I wanted to see? right? I don't know if he's going to do that during his presser, but we've seen him do that before. And yes, they needed to get punched in the mouth. They needed to get punched in the stomach because they were kind of just cautiously going through the moments of this ball game in the second half. And when they finally got behind, something clicked. Where the offense, in terms of the passing game, it came alive. A.J. Brown threw down the book and started making big-time plays. Smitty, everyone was showing up to the party, and it started with their point guard, and not Allen Iverson, but Jalen Hurts. I mean, Ben, you talked about the stat. How many yards did he have in the first half?
18 yards or something?
18. He finished with 226.
Totally different team.
3 touchdowns. And in a day in which Saquon Barkley was a pedestrian to his level, 46 yards, he averaged 2.6 yards per carry. That's not Saquon Barkley-ish. But guess what showed up, was Jalen Hurts, and we cannot forget about the special teams unit. You showed that game-winning block, but they also had an earlier block in the second half as well. I don't know if it was Jordan Davis who blocked that one, but they had 2 blocked, makeable field goals that led to this win.
Ben, I think what we're talking about here is adjustments within the game. The Eagles doing it at a championship level, just like they carry themselves in most things here. Where did you see the adjustment, or was it just looking in the mirror, looking at the guy and said, we're the darn Eagles, let's go score some points?
Yeah, at halftime of this game, Jalen Hurts probably went in, had a banana, had a protein waffle or something, said, I gotta take this game over in the second half, right? To your point, a day where Saquon kind of pedestrian, not necessarily what we expect from him, right? If you're Jalen Hurts, go take the game over. That's what we've been looking for him to see after the first 2 weeks, right? Kind of start for Jalen Hurts, right? No turnovers, not a lot of touchdowns, high completion percentage. But today in that second half, concerted effort, get the ball in the air, get the ball in his hands, let him make the plays, and they surely did that.
I mean, being down 26-7 in the third quarter, and the Philadelphia Eagles, defending Super Bowl champions, there was an announcer who said, some teams, they don't win all that interestingly. The Buffalo Bills do, when they were on that call. And everyone thought that he was talking about the Philadelphia Eagles. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles said, all right, we'll win interesting. We'll do it for you right here. This is one of the better comebacks that we're going to see in an early NFL season. What I look at especially is, to your point, Jalen Hurts taking over, because we have talked for the first 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts does not care how he wins.
He doesn't.
He just wants to win. He doesn't care. When Chris Jones is like, oh, you barely have 100 yards. He's like, we're winning the game.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And then if you take Jalen Hurts' second half here, just really remarkable stuff there.
Second largest comeback win at home in Eagles franchise history, down 19 in this one, but not out. A win in the end for the Eagles, who improved to an undefeated 3-0. A look at Jalen Hurts on a specific time against a specific team. Sundays against the Rams. It's 20 points here in the second half. 17-24. We had questions of when this passing game would come to life. Well, there's your answer. A win at home.
5-3.
All right, let's dive in, because we thought, week 3, we're starting to paint comprehensive pictures of who these teams are and what we expect from them in certain moments.
Yep.
I wanted to see what the Packers would bring on the road with them. What do you chalk up 13-10 to, JJ?
So, first of all, I think that we have to give credit where credit is due. The Cleveland Browns and that defense, we have been talking about it through the first 2 weeks of the season. This is I don't know if I want to throw around the word elite, a very, very good defense who looked like it was going to get squandered again because of ineptitude on offense, because of a lack of talent on offense, because they have not been able to figure out the quarterback position in Cleveland ever. And so, but what we saw today was finally the defense was able to stop the bleeding up to get enough big plays on both defense and special teams, and the offense didn't screw it up and was able to get them that win. And I don't mean the offense won them the game. I mean the offense didn't screw it up.
That's winning football sometimes. That's all you need, right? That's winning football. I can tell you this much about the Cleveland Browns. I don't know exactly what the entire season will detail for them, but they're the wrong sparring partner you want to spar with. Because if you're not careful, they will put you on the canvas if you have championship-like aspirations. So what happens is with the Cleveland Browns, because you look at their style of play in the first 2 weeks, it's kind of boring.
Yep.
They don't have any entertaining-ish to their offense, and they play good defense. But usually the defense does what? They wear down. So when you look at the Green Bay Packers, we've been praising them the first 2 weeks. People have anointed them as being one of the best teams in the National Football League. But they went into the dog pound, and they did not find that bone. And that has been the calling card for the Cleveland Browns. Think about it.
Because Cleveland should have won in week 1 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And then the defense wore down against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, 0-2 despite allowing 383 total yards through 2 weeks. To your point, this defense has been bowing up. Finally, they get enough to complement them in a winning effort. Ben, when the Green Bay Packers turn on the tape here and they look at where they went wrong, where did they maybe leave points out there today?
BMAC, I think you just hit it, right? In the NFL, the margin for error is so small, right? So at the end of the day, the ball is the most important thing in this league. And if you're Jordan Love, you're this Packers offense there at the end of the game, take care of this ball, right? Yeah. Don't put it in harm's way. There's a couple minutes left in the game. Sometimes a punt necessarily isn't the end of the world, right? If you're a quarterback, half of your deal, making sure you've got the ball at the end of every play. So that turnover was costly at the end of the game, gave Cleveland a short field to work with, score a touchdown, then obviously they kick a field goal there to end it. But Cleveland has to feel like they stole one, too.
And let's also talk about special teams, because obviously you get the rookie kicker in there who makes the 55-yarder, but also the Browns kick unit was able to block a Green Bay Packers attempt to go up by 3 points there. So that was also huge by this team. Look, again, I just credit a Cleveland Browns team that is saying we're not going to go 0-3. We're just not going to do it. And they have a long trip. They got a Europe trip coming up, but they're not going to go 0-3.
That's the one thing I love about the NFL, because when you think you know, you don't know. How many bettors had this game in their parlay feeling like this is the one I know for sure?
Survivor pool.
Survivor pool.
You're out.
That's what you got to love about the NFL, the parity. Any week, anything can go left or right. And that's why you got to watch the game. The game has to be played regardless of all the analytics and what this person is saying about that person. You have to watch the game.
And you got to protect that pill. Worth millions?
The ball is worth millions.
Yes. Let's take a look at some numbers coming off of this one. Jordan Love was doing just that. Consecutive games without an INT. Love has his 9-game streak snapped at an inopportune locker room with a little bit more juice than they took to the road on. What do you take away from this performance?
This was a much-needed win, especially in terms of defensive effort. What we witnessed with the Pittsburgh Steelers the first 2 weeks was horrendous in terms of getting significant stops and, most importantly, being better against the run. Remember what the Jets did week 1. They ran the football up and down against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The same was said with Kenneth Walker and the Seattle Seahawks just last week. So when you look at their effort defensively, especially against the Patriots running game, they did a better job, not to mention forcing turnovers. We saw 5 turnovers forced by the Pittsburgh Steelers, 2 in which happened in the red zone. If you want to learn the best way to lose a ball game, create turnovers, have turnovers in the red zone. That will put you in a position to lose. And that was the telling sign for me in terms of the Pittsburgh Steelers walking out of Gillette Stadium with a win.
Ben, you got a young quarterback there in Drake May. It's an offense that couldn't find their flow, couldn't possess the football on that side of the ledger in this one. What is the coaching point coming off of this when you still have a quarterback trying to figure out what he's seeing?
Yeah, when you look at this New England Patriots offense, I think the biggest thing for them today is they shot themselves in the foot too many times, right? 5 turnovers, couple fumbles. Drake May tipped ball down there, near the goal line. They got intercepted before half. But if you're the Patriots, staff, offensive coordinator, head coach, you've got to like the way Drake May started the season. Much, much, much improved from last year. Taking care of the ball, spreading the ball around, getting these guys involved. But if you're this Patriots team, you got to feel like you let one slip a little bit today.
It was the running backs unable to hold the rock. You do mention the red zone giveaway by Drake May right after we saw a play that might have in other instances had him taken off the field. He does stay on the field there. And for the remainder of the game, JJ, take us wherever you're pleased here, because I think 2 great points made on the quarterback. And then on the Pittsburgh Steelers side, this was a game that TJ Watt needed to see as well.
So TJ Watt finally came alive, right? And it was what we have been waiting for and looking for from TJ Watt. I'm an AP voter on all the big awards, and I remember about midway through December, it was like I wanted TJ Watt to be Defensive Player of the Year. He just needed to get a sack somewhere in there. He wound up losing that award to Pat Surtain II. And so now he's starting to round into form, $41 million per year. He needs to. On the other side of it, and I think Ben really hit on it there with the New England Patriots, you had so many opportunities there in the red zone. You had Drake May's interception there, and B-Mac and I were talking about as we're watching the game, why are they not running the football one time in the minute that you have it down there at the goal line? They did not do that. Ramondre Stevenson could not be trusted today. He had 2 fumbles on the day. Last year, he had 7 fumbles. I was a little surprised, Joe, that after the first fumble, with a new head coach in Mike Vrabel, that he didn't just bench him. He didn't say, we got Travion Henderson. We're not putting up with this in a game that is going to be a low-scoring game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They did not do that. They got burned by him again. That's going to be an issue this week in Foxborough.
Vrabel, we know, baptized in a world of ball security, even though he played on the other side of the football, but the Patriot way is something they're trying to return to. Mac, when it goes like this for an offensive unit, where a defensive unit